What's up, everybody? Today, I'm going to answer the question, why do I still need to go to church? So like always, there's 1 point, 2 questions, and 3 practical tips that I want to leave you guys with so that you can be encouraged in your walk with Jesus. All right, so the point here today is that the church is not just about the people, but it's about presence. The church is a presence people, specifically the presence of God dwelling with us here on earth. When Jesus came, he was called Emmanuel, which means God with us. And so throughout the entire history of God's journey and story here on earth, it's a story about God trying to dwell with man. In the Old Testament, he did it through the temple. He did it through the Ark of the Covenant. He did it even through prophets and kings. But it was never a permanent thing. And only when Jesus came, the presence of God became permanent here on earth with us. So the whole entire Bible is a story about God's presence dwelling permanently with man here on earth. And so the point is that the church is more than just a people, but it's about presence, God being with us. 2 questions that we have to ask ourselves is, what is the church and why do I still need to be a part of it? All right. So what is the church? Like I mentioned before, the church is more than just a people. The church is more than just a building, but it's the presence of God with us. And so some of us, we kind of have this impression that the church is like a New Testament temple, when actually it's more than that. The New Testament temple is us. We are the temple. We are the living stones built up to be the temple of God. And so instead, what the church is, it's just the gathering, or the language, the Greek word ecclesia, of the New Testament temples. So it's the New Testament temples coming together in worship, in unity, for the glory of God. So the second question that we have to ask is, why do I need to be a part of this? If I'm just a New Testament temple, if I carry the presence of God with me, why do I need to be with other people who are carrying the presence of God with them? Can't they just do their own thing? Well, it's deeper than that. It's more than that. In Matthew 18:20, Jesus literally says, where 2 or more people gather in my name, there I will be with them amongst them. So yes, you are the New Testament temple. You carry the presence of God with you wherever you go, whatever you do. However, when we gather with the people of God, when we're with other people, there's something that happens. I hate this word synergy, but there's kind of this synergy that happens, that when we gather with the other people of God, Jesus is just there in an intensified sense of presence. There was moments throughout Jesus' history and ministry where when he would go to certain places, because of the lack of faith, he was limited in his ability to be able to do miracles and ministry. That says a lot. That says that the people in a certain setting or an environment can actually dictate and shape the faith formation or the miracle formation that happens around them. So, yes, you are carriers of God's presence. But there's something that happens in the gathering of the people of the New Testament temple. Even though we carry presence, there's something about it that happens when we actually gather with other people. So 3 practical tips. First, practice presence in the present. Let me say that again. Practice presence in the present. God is not just far and away, but he is in the here and the now. And for some of you planners and thinkers, I know that may be a little hard to swallow, but God is not just 5-10 years from now, but God is in the now. So we have to ask ourselves, Jesus, where are you now and what are you doing? Where are you now? What are you doing? Practice presence in the present. Second, deal honestly with any pain about the people of God that you may have had. In my talk on Sunday, I talked about how we've had this wrong impression about the church being just about the people of God, and that that actually the church is meant to be a carrier of God's presence. And so what ends up happening, and one of the symptoms that we know, is that when we've had this view of the church being exclusively about the people of God, then whether you're Christian, non-Christian, or former Christian, then if your perspective is that you are that the church is just the people of God, then you've either started going to church or stopped going to church because of the people of God, when actually we're supposed to be called into God's presence. Lastly, the third point and my final point is find a church. There's just things that I can't explain it, even for me as a pastor, that just happen in the gathering of the New Testament temples, such as you and I. There's just something that can only happen when you are in the midst of other people, praying, worshiping the one true and living God. When your eyes are not just set on each other, but you're actually set on God Himself. And so, find a church, find a Bible-believing, a God-fearing, presence-driven church in your area. Find a local pastor that you can sit down with and talk with and meet with to talk about the presence of God in your life. And that's going to be, like I said, I can't explain it, but things just happen. I hope this video was a help to you. I highly encourage you guys to find a church. Be blessed this week as you serve the Lord and glorify Him in all that you do. God bless.